Hi there and welcome to GamesWeb. My name's Mark and today I'm going to be taking a look at Alien The Roleplaying Game from Free League Publishing, and this is probably one of the best looking role-playing games I've seen in the past 20 years easily. So we're going to have a quick look through the game and have a bit chat about it and see the wonderful artwork as you can see from the cover, and just take it from there. Now this isn't a review as such. I'm actually doing a retrospective look because the game's been out since 2019, but let's have a look through. And if you're new to the channel, please, if you can, subscribe. That'd be fantastic. And if you like this video or you don't like this video, just leave a comment, and because everything helps us grow as a channel. Okay, right, so Alien The Roleplaying Game was first announced in April of 2019, and I think it was about 4 weeks before the 40th anniversary of Ridley Scott's Alien movie. So Free League really wanted to get the movie, the book out, or the announcement out in time for that. The game came out later on in the year, and it's done phenomenally well. It's won quite a lot of awards. Right, as you can see, it's not a thin book. It's 394 pages, something like that. And on the back we have our blurb which says, "I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies," which is a quote from Ash in Alien, sorry. Space is vast and dark and not your friend. Gamma rays and neutrino bursts erupt from dying stars to cook you alive. Black holes tear you apart, and the void itself boils your blood and seizes your brain. Try to scream and no one can hear you. Hold your breath and rupture your lungs. Space isn't as empty as you think either. Its frontiers are ever expanding. Rival governments wage a cold war of aggression whilst greedy corporations vie for valuable resources. Colonists reach the stars and gamble with their lives. Each new world is tamed is either famine or feast. And there are things lurking in the shadows of every asteroid, things strange and different and deadly. Things Alien. This is the official role-playing Alien tabletop role-playing game, a universe of body horror and corporate brinkmanship, where synthetic people play God with space truckers and marines, play host to newborn ghoulish creatures. It is a harsh and unforgiving universe, and you are nothing if expendable. Stay alive if you can. Okay, so I'm not going to bother reading the rest of it, but this uses the Year Zero engine, which is in other games from Free League, such as Mutant Year Zero and what's the other one? Cyborium and Tales from the Loop. All absolutely fantastic games, all multi-award winning games as well. In fact, Tales from the Loop has actually been made into a television series. It was that popular. Okay, so here we have our book. We're going to have a quick look through, so let's just try and get lined up. Okay, so here we have a map of the Middle Heavens, which is the known universe. Earth is here in this tiny dot in the center. So and if you actually look, we have a legend on the side here which tells you what each of the different colors represents. So at the moment in Alien, a role-playing game, there's some dominant powers that are vying for expansion and land. Basically, it's like a Wild West game, frontiersmen going out, exploring new areas, and coming up against strange, often hostile environments, and then trying to overcome them. So we have the Union of Progressive People, which is basically China and Vietnam and Korea and a few other Asian countries. They own vast swathes of the universe, and they're classed as bad guys. Then we have the Free World Empire, which is the United Kingdom, Japan and Australia, and a couple of other territories. I think New Zealand's also there. They're called the Three World Empire because they were the first to settle the three worlds outside of Earth. So they settled Mars, Venus, and Titan, I think it is. But that's the Three World Empire. You got the independent core system colonies, which is more or less like the light colours here, right? These are a conglomerate of people who didn't want to be tied to the yoke of any corporation or government, formed their own thing. It's basically a truckers union, that kind of thing. And then finally, you've got the biggest wave is the United Americas, which is America, Canada, and I think it's Mexico. Might even be South America. I cannot remember exactly offhand, but the United Americas take up the biggest part next to the UPP, and they all are fighting for rights and resources. Okay, so the map's very important because the map basically lays down what's going on, where, how it goes on, why it goes on. But we'll get into that in a moment. Okay, so again, we've got our facehugger here. We've got our introduction. So we have our chapter, Space is Hell, which is a brief introduction to the game and how to get the best from it. Chapter 2 is your character. Chapter 3 is skills. Chapter 4 is talents. Chapter 5 is combat and panic. Chapter 6 is gear. Chapter 7 is A Hard Life Amongst the Stars, which basically tells you about living in a spacecraft. Then Chapter 8 is where the Games Master section begins. That's your job as a game mother. Right, so instead of being a Games Master, you're a game mother. That's MUTHUR, as in the computer on board Aliens, Alien Nostromo. And then you've got governments and corporations of the 2020s, systems and planets, alien species, and campaign player. And then there's an adventure at the back called Hope's Last Day, which is about, unfortunately, Hadley's Hope, the settlement that was in the Aliens movie. Okay, so again, I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies, Ash. And there we have that brilliant artwork. The artwork on this is just phenomenal. Okay, so what's the story, Mother? It tells you all about the back story of the Alien franchise. Here this tells you about the frontier life. So we've got our three-world empire, which is UK and Japan and several developing countries, and then United Americas, which is sorry, South America. Sorry, so Canada, South America, North America have all merged together, and they're the United Americas. Then we've got the Union People Progression and the ICSC. Okay, so this is just basically having a look at what life is like in space, and here we have our timeline, which goes from the year 2000. We are currently here, roughly 2021, sorry. So it goes from 2000 and then right up to 2190, which is in the future, more or less. The game's present day is 2180. Now, there are a few supplements that have come out that are set post 2180. So the Destroyer of Worlds is set late 2180, 182. And then we have the Colonial Marines Operations Manual, which I've reviewed recently. My review will be down here somewhere. The Colonial Marines Operational Manual is set in 2083, and the next big one will be 2084. So every time they advance a year in real life, they're advancing a year in the game. So this basically goes from the Peter Wayland developing faster than light technology idea, all the way up to the events of Alien 3. It doesn't go any further than Alien 3, really. Okay, so so we got our different kinds of people to play. So you have frontier colonists, a bit like the guys on LV-426 in Aliens, space truckers, which is basically they go around and haul ice and chemicals and minerals and precious cargo across the universe. They're basically delivery men, and they're the ones who are depicted in Alien. So Ripley's a space trucker, along with Ash, Lambert, Dallas, Kane, Brent, and Parker. Okay, and then you've got Colonial Marines, the badass guys from the Aliens movie. They're the ones who will go in and police any actions that need to be done. And they do investigations in colonies, but not just for aliens. There are lots of things going on. There's piracy, there's sabotage by rival corporations, all sorts of things. Then you've got your company reps, so that's somebody like Burke from Aliens. And then now we have the role-playing mode. So there are two ways to play the game. First of all, you need a game mother. Game mother is your person who sets the stage, rolls all the dice, comes up with the adventures, is basically the director of the story that you're playing at the moment, and you're all the players. And then we have two different kinds of modes. Now, we have the cinematic play and the campaign play. Campaign play allows you to take your characters and expand them with experience from adventure to adventure, and watch them grow, and you get attached to your characters, much like a regular role-playing game. However, cinematic play tends to be not so much PC based, because your PCs are very, very likely going to die before the end of the adventure. There is an adventure called Chariot of the Gods, and it comes with pre-generated characters for you to play with, and from the walkthroughs I've seen online on YouTube, quite a few people have had to have a second player character taken from the NPCs because their characters die. Space is hard, space is nasty, and if you're actually going up against a xenomorph, well, okay, so cinematic play is, as it sounds, very cinematic. It relies a lot on the tropes and technology that they use in cinema, such as you set the scene and use jump scares and all sorts of things. And it's very good if you actually use cinematic prop like music. Okay, and then so we've got the key themes. You've got space horror, science fiction, action, sense of wonder. So space horror is basically the aliens, and everything else is about to actually kill you. Science fiction action, you can turn this into it. You don't need to have aliens in this at all. You could have it so your characters never actually meet aliens. They are colonial marines who are assigned to, I don't know, a deep space survey expedition, and they're not meeting aliens, they're meeting, you know, fighting against pirates or what have you. And then you've got a sense of wonder, which is the people who are actually going out there to explore, to settle new worlds. Very much like in the Wild West, where you've got people who went all the way across America, often in pretty harsh conditions, to make a new life for themselves. With Tools of Trade, this is still in the first chapter. Tools of the Trade, again, you've got your character sheets, then you need your dice and cards. Now, cards are used for two purposes. You can use them for initiative, because they've got numbers on the back of them, and that you play the numbers down via initiative, and whoever gets, say, if there's 4 you're playing with the Games Master, the order that they're revealed is the order in which the characters act. And the same with the NPCs as well. And then the dice is, this game uses a standard 2d6 system, right? So, well, it's a d6 system. So we have hits and misses. Now, as we can see on this section here, I'm just going to zoom in and show you what this says. Okay, so as you can see here, you have, this game uses both base dice and stress dice. The marksman symbol on the 6-sided dice, rolling that symbol usually means that an effect of some kind is triggered. For example, when succeeding, use a skill. Stress dice have the facehugger symbol on the one side. Rolling that symbol triggers panic in your character. All this is worked out in chapter 3. Okay, so basically, to just go in a nutshell, with your dice, you need to have okay, so basically your dice system is quite simple. So what you do is you roll a set number of dice. So we'll get onto that when we come on to the next part, but basically you roll a set number of dice. You need to get 6s to actually succeed. For every 6 you get, that's a success. For every 1 you get, that's a failure. And if you roll in stress, which is the fact that you may be under fire, you might be injured, you might have seen something that's horrific, you add those stress dice to your dice pool, and something really bad can happen. Okay, and the cards also have, as well as initiative cards, you also have cards with various weapons and pieces of equipment and gear and things like that on them that make it so you can use them with your characters, just to text them outside your character sheet. And you know, like, so a pulse rifle or a flare gun or let's say a motion tracker. Okay, so this introduction onto role-playing just tells you basically what a role-playing game is, and then we get on to the next chapter, which is the character. Okay, so you have various career attributes and archetypes that you can use, and these are as follows. Right, okay. Okay, so this is just all the character generation. Okay, and then you can spend your XP, challenge, arrival, or buddy. Right, okay, so these are your XP, your archetypes. So your first one is your colonial marine. Each character chooses a personal agenda. Each character has a signature item. They have their appearance, which you can choose yourself, and they all also get a set of equipment based on whatever the character class is, and they've got key attributes as well, which you pick for your characters. So for a marine example, you could be a decorated hero, or you help cover up a war crime that nobody must know, or you've been traumatized by the death of one of your friends, it's spooked you, and now you fear combat and confrontation. You need to overcome your fear. Now, there are other personal agendas throughout the book, and there are also loads of personal agendas in the Colonial Marines Operation Manual. You're free to choose those as long as your game's mother agrees with you. And then your signature item, this is something that you carry around with you at all times. So this says like lost friends, dog tags, trophy from a defeated enemy, bullet that you survived. It can be anything. It could be a photograph of a loved one, it could be a lucky pistol, it could be a lucky helmet, it could be absolutely anything. And then of course your appearance depends on whatever you want to do. Okay, then we have the Colonial Marshal. Now Aliens universe is quite big and vast, and it's been linked with a few other movies over the years. One of the movies that Aliens has been linked with, although I don't know if it's 100% official, is Outland, the retelling of King Lear, Shakespeare's King Lear, starring Sean Connery, from the 1980s. A really good film where Sean Connery plays a marshal who's sent to Titan to actually police action on Titan. There's no monsters in it, it's just a detective story, but it's really well done. He plays a colonial marshal. This is a very similar type thing. So basically you're a cop. You've got your own agenda, and your appearance, signature item, gear, and all that kind of stuff. Then we have a company man, or company agent. So that's somebody like Carter Burke from Aliens. He's the guy who works for one of the big companies. So Aradine or Arasaka, not Arasaka, sorry, Cyberpunk. I'm looking at a Cyberpunk game and it just triggered it automatically. Someone like Weyland-Yutani, or Aradine, or Segson, or one of the big companies that are available in the game. There's lots of different corporations and companies, and they have a lot of power. These can be scheming, they can be backstabbing, and they can be a normal person. Then you have a kid, so someone like Newt from Aliens. you're a kid, you've grown up and had to survive on your feet. Not necessarily that way, you could just actually be a child in the game, but lots of different things. And then a medic speaks for itself, and then officer, so someone like Ripley, because Ripley's a warrant officer, and then finally pilot. Well, actually, it's not finally. And you've got a roughneck. Roughnecks are people who do manual labour for a living. So if you imagine Parker and Brent from Alien, played by the wonderful Yaphet Kotto, who we lost earlier this year, sadly, and also by the amazing Gary Dean Stanton, who we lost a few years ago. Both brilliant actors, both did absolutely amazing performances in the movie Alien. In fact, I think that they were two of the best characters in the film. Okay, so you're a roughneck. You work with your hands. You work for a living. You want to make money. You're not really too bothered about politics. You just want to make money and find out where the next buck's coming from. And then you've got scientists meddling things and do things that science are like. Okay, then we've got our skill list. So when you roll your dice, you can do lots and lots of different things when you roll your dice. You need to get a 6 to succeed, but if you don't get a 6, if you don't succeed, you may you may still be able to succeed, but not as successfully. If you've got a skill and you can roll it, you roll it. And so here, it rolls without a skill. If you don't have the skill required for that particular action, you want to perform it, you roll it anyway. Just roll the base dice equal to that attribute, as well as any stress dice. So the way things roll is, let's say, for example, I'm not going to stress at the moment, but let's look at some of the skills. Okay, so stamina. Stamina is a strength-based skill. It allows you to do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do, such as surviving the vacuum in space, or ripping open a door, or pushing yourself. Anything that really pushes your endurance is a stamina-based skill. And let's say, for instance, you've got 1 point in stamina and 2 points in strength. That would mean you roll 3 dice, because you add your skill number to your attribute number and roll that number of dice and try to get as many 6s as possible to succeed, and hoping not to get 1s. Okay, and some of the situations can actually give you a modifier. You get a +1 or +2 or +3, depending on what this thing is. As a cinematic play, I would strongly advise that if you're playing it cinematically, don't make people roll for things that they can do without even doing a skill check. Someone wants to open a door that's not locked, the door opens. As simple as that. That's one of the best ways to actually do any kind of role playing. Try and keep rolls to a minimum and concentrate on story development and telling the narrative. That's the single best way to do any cinematic role playing game. Okay, so you got your various skills, so heavy machinery. All these are all listed on your character sheet, and as I say, they work in conjunction with your attributes. And then you've got talents, which are various things that add to your archetype. So talent for a colonial marine is banter, overkill, and push the limit. Sorry, pass the limit. Pass the limit allows you to reduce your increase your strength rolls twice, not just once. And each time you push them, by pushing I mean add these thing to it, you add your stress level, so you have an extra stress dice. Banter, you can lower the stress level of your compatriots by making snide comments or jibes or funny comments in combat situations or in between combat situations to lower your stress level. So if you imagine Hudson in Aliens is constantly wisecracking, and same with Frost as well. Okay, you got those are colonial marine talents. There's lots of them: company agent, kid talents, medic talents, scientist, pilot, officers, roughnecks, and then general talents that everybody can use. Like rapid fire here, you can fire a pistol or rifle as a fast action instead of a slow action. Okay, so combat and panic. I'm not going to go into too much onto this. I just want to try and get through slightly. So combat and panic basically tells you how to time everything so everything goes down right. So this game works really, really well as a visual aspect. So unlike a lot of role-playing games which all take place in your mind, this works really well if you actually have miniatures to represent your characters on the tabletop. And there are some amazing maps that Free League have done for some of the supplements that are absolutely fantastic, that need to be used. You need to use them as floor plans and put miniatures on them. I would strongly suggest that if you are interested in this, or you're playing Alien the Role-Playing Game, that you pick up a copy of Another Glorious Day in the Core from Cool Mini or Not. Sorry, forgive me, Another Glorious Day in the Core from Gale Force 9, not Cool Mini or Not. That game has got some phenomenal templates and all sorts of stuff in it. The miniatures are fantastic, the boards are fantastic. It was my Games Web Game of the Year last year. Fantastic game. Anyway, I'm digressing. So, stealth mode. So, aliens being aliens, you can't normally detect them. Some people wearing stealth suits or camouflage might not be detectable. Then you've got initiative and action. So I briefly spoke about this, that initiative relies on the cards. You don't have to use the cards. You can do initiative without using cards. And then the actions that you can perform. So you can move, you can help someone else, you can ready a weapon, right? So you've got slow actions, which is like crawling, doing a close combat attack, shoot a firearm, burst a firearm, a full auto, throw a weapon, reload, do first aid, stop panic, give an order, persuade, use a signature item, climb into a space boot, or start an engine. And you've got fast actions, which is like run, move through a doorway or arch, get up if you're prone, draw a weapon, block attack, pick up an item, shove, grapple, retreat, aim, seek cover, assume overwatch position, grab the wheel, drive, enter exit vehicle, use item. All these skills are all detailed here on how we actually go about using them. So you see the shoving and range combat resolution. Again, some amazing artwork. Okay, then what to do when you do the demos. Right, so we've got a coup de grace here, which is like broken character is defenseless. If a human being and you want to kill your target outright, you must fail an empathy roll. So you roll the dice and you need to fail it. If you don't, you can't kill that person, because you don't unless you've got the merciless talent, which means you don't give a damn. You don't want to. Most people will not want to physically go and kill another person. And stress, as I say, stress goes in and adds extra dice. So it means that you can actually succeed better, but you've also got the chance that you're going to fail more. Okay, so when your stress increases by things such as pushing a skill, using a full auto fire of a weapon, you suffer damage. You go without sleep, food or water, you perform a coup de grace, which is basically I just mentioned. Someone in your team fails to analyse something as a scientist. A member of your crew attacks you. A person nearby is revealed to be an android. Or you encounter certain creatures or locations as determined by the scenario of the GM. The GM can just set this to stress, and it makes it harder for you because stress is very difficult to get rid of. Just like in real life, stressful situations can have their toll on you. Okay, so this full chapter here tells you all about stress and how to actually overcome it. You've got your hazards such as space is out to get you. So if it's not radiation, it's going to be freezing or boiling up or explosive decompression, dehydration, starvation, exhaustion. There are falling, explosions, fire, disease. And then we have radiation, drowning, suffocation, and then we have synthetics. Okay, so synthetics is a nod to Blade Runner, Electric Sheep. It is illegal to program an android for violence against humans. Whilst modern synthetics are governed by behavioural inhibitors that prevent them from injuring others, earlier models are not so equipped and therefore dangerous. So there you go. So we've got the rules here for synthetics and injuries on synthetics. They are covered further along, and then we've got the xenomorphs as well. Now, the X121 xenomorph here, they're nasty. They're very dangerous and very deadly. But there are things in the universe that are actually a little bit more scary than they are, which you will find out if you play Destroyer of Worlds, because there's some nasty stuff in there. Okay, so vehicle combat tells you how to do all your combat from your APCs or your aircraft, your spacecraft, your gear, whatever gear you want. So service pistols, revolvers, and then you've got things like flame units, shotguns, M41A pulse rifle, and then we have heavy weapons such as the M56A2 smart rifle or smart gun, and 240 M240 incinerator units, both seen in Aliens. Great stuff. That's the one that Ripley attaches to the M41A pulse rifle when she goes after the Queen to find Newt. And then we've got armour, how armour works. There's a P5000 power loader that Ripley uses in Aliens, and then loads of other equipment. So we've got all sorts of things here, you know, medical supplies, pharmacy supplies, I can't pronounce it, my brain's gone. Okay, food and drink, and then our vehicles. So that's the one that's seen in the director's cut of Aliens. There's the M577 APC that's seen in Aliens, and then we've got like a Cheyenne dropship here, which is in Aliens as well. And then, okay, now we start getting towards the end of the players section. So this tells you all about how living in space works. So being in space is not as glamorous as it sounds. You spend many months, sometimes years, in hypersleep, going from one place to another. Even at faster than light travel, it can sometimes take years to get from one place to another, and as such you miss out on a lot. Time tends to change because you're stuck in deep cryosleep. So life on both spaceships and space stations. Anchor Point, which is one of the United Marines Colonial Marines Command headquarters, deep space colonies. And then how everything works: money, working for hire, entertainment, media, law enforcement. So as I said, most of the things in law enforcement will be down to either ICC, which is the Interstellar Commerce Commission. So Ripley, Burt was trying to impregnate Newt and Ripley with chest bursters using the facehuggers in the med lab, so we could get them past ICC quarantine, because they would basically be in cryosleep on the way back, which would slow the function down of the developing embryos. And then you've got things like United States Colonial Marine Corps, who speak for themselves, and the colonial marshals, who are basically the police. Also, you've got religion here, practices of various religions. One of the ones that is really interesting is from the Dark Horse comics, which is the Church of Immaculate Incubation. It's also been distributed by a thing called Space Beast, which is the fictionalized account of the events of Alien 3 that leaked to the public, and it's now banned. And then you've got the basics for your spacecraft. So different kinds of ships and what's inside them and how to build them. So that's a Corvus class ship, which is the same as the one that's used in Aliens. Nostromo. So you've got different oh, sorry, forgive me. No, the Bison is the Nostromo. You've got different classes. Bison CM88H. That's the Bison. And then space combat, so you can actually fight in space. All your actions for your pilot. A Conestoga class frigate, which is the Sulaco. There's no actual pictures for the Prometheus or the Covenant ships, because that technology doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, if you've ever wondered why the technology in Alien looks so dated compared to Covenant, even though it's set almost 60 years later, that's explained in this book quite thoroughly, that someone unleashed a technovirus that wiped out a lot of the technological progress that we've made. Okay, and this is the final section of the book. The last 200 pages almost covers the games master section, the games mother. I'm only going to go through this very briefly because I don't want to give away too many spoilers. We'll have a look at some of the artwork, but this is basically the Bible for anyone who's actually going to be running the game. So I'm just going to pause for a moment and then reset things up, and we'll have another look. Okay, welcome back. This is the last section of the game. This is perhaps the most important part of the game because it gives you, the game mother, the opportunity to get to grips with everything that's going on in the universe. You get to decide the fates of your characters, of the NPCs, what's going to happen. Is this planet going to be overrun by arachnids? Is this planet going to be overrun by xenomorphs? Or are the arachnids going to turn up from Starship Troopers? Or are you going to cunningly fit in the engineers, or even the Yautja or Predators? Okay, answer to those last two parts, you're not going to do that because the Predators will never appear in this game because they're a different franchise, and you're most likely never going to see the engineers in the game either, although the technology will be referenced. You may not see them because they're owned by Ridley Scott and he doesn't want anybody doing anything with them. Right, okay, moving on. Okay, so this is your job as a game mother. It's got some core principles here that you need to learn. These are very important for role playing, not just for this book, but you can use them in D&D or 5th Ed or any superhero, science fiction, fantasy, contemporary role-playing game, Cthulhu, I don't know, Pathfinder, anything. They'll work perfectly well. Okay, so riff from movies. Number one, take cues from the movies, not just Alien and Aliens, or Alien 3, or Alien Covenant, or Prometheus. Movies that I just mentioned, like Predator, take rips from that. Set things up. It's very easy to actually ignore movies when you're actually coming to gaming, but all gaming should be cinematic. You should actually make it play out like a movie so your players and yourself get the most enjoyment from it. Limit the resources. Do not give your players everything. Make sure they don't have everything they need and that they have to quest for something, that they have to find something. So here it says, not enough ammo, just give them a little, or one gun to share between them, one compression suit's less than the number of PCs, scarcity of resources creates tension. Now, tension in this game is absolutely, paramount. It's something that you want to build because the moments in Alien and Aliens and Alien 3 are extremely tense. Even the moments where there is no tension have a dramatic underflow under them. Okay, stay in the shadows. Right. Okay, now there's two schools of thoughts on this. Alien was a haunted house. This has been a direct quote from both James Cameron and Ridley Scott. It was a haunted house. You knew that something was around the corner, but you couldn't actually see it because it was hiding in the shadows. Aliens, however, wasn't a haunted house. Aliens was a roller coaster. You were going up the hill on the roller coaster and you could see that there was a sudden drop, and there was absolutely bugger all you could do about that. You were going to go down there. Use the shadows. Use show, not tell. In fact, actually, it's tell, not show, really, because it's role playing. But don't immediately put the players in conflict with aliens. And another thing you could actually do is this: instead of actually just staying in the shadows, you could seed doubt, which is also a very, very good way to actually games master Alien. Increase the pressure. Okay, so it says start easy and slowly and then add more and more complications to the situation. Things go wrong in horror movies. We all know that, and it's quite true. So if we play on that strength, we won't go far wrong. Give them a moment to breathe. Let them catch up. Let them make plans. Right? Let them think that they know what they're doing, and they're going to anticipate your next move. Fuel their agendas. Right, so we learned a little bit about agendas earlier on, that your characters all have their own agendas, but there are other agendas that can be come into play. You need to feed into these, put them in situations that directly challenge them. Bring horrible death. Okay, now most role-playing games, the one thing that you don't want is a TPK, total party kill. You don't want to kill everybody off, because killing characters in games is not a very nice way to roleplay. And in the 40 odd years that I've been doing it, I think I've done it 3 times in 40 odd years, and I've run thousands and thousands of game sessions. But it can be that a TPK is called for. Do not be frightened in this game of killing somebody, and kill them in a horrible way, an extremely horrible way. Instead of just shooting them with a bullet, have them die of decompression, or slow lingering death with radiation sickness, or quick lingering death with radiation sickness, or worse still, get nabbed by a xenomorph. And then reveal the universe. Reveal the universe is probably one of the most important things. Let them know that they are only a small speck in something much bigger. If we just go back to the very beginning of where I started the overview, here we have Sol, right? So that is our solar system. This is the solar system itself. Earth is only a small speck within that solar system, which in turn is a small speck when you compare to all the stars like Zeta Reticuli and Antares and all that stuff that are in the known heavens, and the middle heavens even. Right? Imagine that we are a grain of sand on a beach. That's our universe. Let your players slowly encounter what they need to find. Don't throw everything at once to them. And I would actually add a ninth thing here, which is for Alien especially, is sowing mistrust. If the players think that something is not what it seems, it most likely isn't something that what it seems, and run with it, even if you haven't thought of that yourself. Now, there are lots of things in the Alien universe, especially in the role-playing universe, that can really throw a spanner in the works for the players. Just dying is one of them. Okay, so you've got thematic themes, you've got a space horror theme. So, space horror, you've got Alien, Aliens, Prometheus, all those movies, and then you can also draw on other movies such as, let me see, Saturn III, Outland, although Outland's more of an action film. Let me think what else. Event Horizon. Computer games wise, you could go for Dead Space. Dead Space is like phenomenally good for space horror. Even Starship Troopers. Sci-fi action, Starship Troopers, perfect. You could even put in the things like Age of Tomorrow, or Elysium, sci-fi action games. Scale of Wonder. This is Sense of Wonder. Sorry, this can be anything from influences from books like works of Isaac Asimov, 2001: A Space Odyssey, that King Rendezvous with Rama, all that kind of stuff. Good themes, but there are other themes as well. Right, so stress and horror. Stress and horror are the most important things. It's a horror game. One of the real good things that I'm planning on doing is mixing the Aliens game with Cthulhu, because Cthulhu mythos is most of it's set in outer space anyway. So this is quite good. Right, so you've got your fear of the unknown, loss of control, and horrible choices. People can make the bad choice very, very easily. And then you've got your 3 stages of fear: dread, terror, horror. They're your 3 stages of fear. Relieving stress. You need to let it so they don't just completely go off the rails and end up going insane very, very quickly. You can go insane in this game, very much like in Cthulhu. You can suffer from psychosis or psychosi, which will drive you a bit mental. as the saying goes, right? So split the team. You know, don't have to have them all together. Split them into smaller groups. If you're playing as Colonial Marines, put them in fire teams. You know, fire team of Colonial Marines is 3. If you've got 6 players, that's fantastic. You've got 2 fire teams. You send one off in one direction and one off in the other, knowing that one of them may not live. Okay, so this section here looks at cinematic play and your NPCs and how to use them. Now, I'm only going to briefly gloss over these because I don't want to go too much into depth. Right, so this here onwards, I'm not going to touch, because this is all the, I'll just flick through it, but I'm not going to actually pause on every page. This is the meat and veg of the game. This is where all the bad guys are. So we've got some like details on the United Americas and its history, the UPP, then the ICSC, Interstellar Commerce, and then Weyland-Yutani, Lassia Bionational, Sigston from Alien Insurrection. Not Insurrection, sorry. Alien Isolation, the computer game. Then the different systems and planets. Right, so there's lots of them in this thing. So Floriana 161, which is where Alien 3 is set, which is not that far away from Archeron, which is I don't know if that should be there somewhere. Outer Vale, which is Outer Rim territories. Lots of different systems. Tartarus system, Alpha Cali, Gamma Lapodis, Zeta Rectula system. Right, so this is where Alien is set. And on Zeta Rectula we have LV-426, which is there we go, LV-426. Frontier, it's an American near Tartarus sector orbiting Cal Palamos. Its affiliation is Weyland-Yutani United Americas. It's a terrestrial moon, breathable atmosphere, partly terraformed, high velocity windstorms. You can probably hear the wind in the background because this is from Weyland-Yutani. And key resources not identified. Why would you want to go there? Okay, so then you've got the alien species. Okay, so I'm not even going to bother looking at that. I'm just going to flick forward as far as I can, and I've still got more. Okay, so the alien species starts on page 283 and goes up to page 300. And then we get onto the campaign play. So this is how to build your campaign up, how to create star systems, all that kind of stuff. Job generators, all the little things you need as a games master or games mother to actually get the most from your game. And then we have some amazing blueprints which are used for the adventure, which is at the back, Hope's Last Day, which is set on Hadley's Hope on Archeron. And there's your cast of characters. And that is where we're going to leave it. We're not going to go any further because I don't really want to spoil any of the last part of the book. Right, okay, so that's a quick look through the Alien book. Alright, it's not a quick look through, it's over 40 minutes long, but it's still a quick look through. I've been reading this book since I got it. I originally got it in PDF from Free League just before the book came out, but I have real problems with my vision, so I couldn't read the PDF, and it was too many pages to print out because it's like nearly 400 pages. So I finally got hold of this hardbound copy. I am really glad that I did. So much so that I've actually ordered the starter set as well, so I can review the starter set. This is, without a doubt, one of the best products I've seen for a role-playing game in 40 years. I would go on as to say this is probably as good as D&D 3.5 as a product. The illustrations, as you've seen, are fantastic. The layout is really good. The game itself is very simplistic, yet very complex at the same time. You can do a lot with the actual game itself. It gets a big thumbs up from me, and I'm extremely pleased to have this copy now. Right, I've spoken long enough. That's just a look at Alien. There are lots and lots of things you can do with this system. Go out there, have fun. It's a massive toy box for all games mothers, games masters to play in. You will really enjoy it. Highly recommended. Perfect way to pass a few hours. Campaign play can be really, really good. Cinematic play is perfect. That's what you need. You need a cinematic approach to the game itself. Right, so that's it, really. As I said before, my name's Mark, and thank you for taking the time to get to the end of this. And no matter where you are in the world, please stay safe, look after yourself. Don't go leaning over large eggs that are surrounded by a blue mist, because you never know what might you find inside them. Thanks very much. Bye.